I won't lie to you, today is gonna feel a lot like Joe Rogan talking about grizzly bears. Our topic is Tyranids. Now, Tyranids are the apex predators of the Warhammer universe, and there's even a solid argument to be made for them being the apex faction, period. They are this giant middle finger being waved towards every last organism in the universe. I mean, they very much pose an indirect threat to non-biological beings as well, which we'll get into later, but it's mostly organic. Even when you're killing them, you're still nowhere close to winning. You're just playing into their hand no matter what you do, so you had better hope that the plot is on your side. If it's not, you don't get options, so I guess you can just hope that your death will be quick. Tyranids are the representation of nature's unbridled fury unleashed upon the universe. These aren't just bugs. They're the pinnacle of evolution. It's not their fault everything ends up returning to crab shapes. Alright, this should be about 1 minute in the bag. I can go ahead and swear now. These aliens are a fucking problem. Where do I even start? Okay, motives. Every single Tyranid is driven by the basic instinct of I need to eat and make more of me, which is a terrifying enemy to square off with. No moral compass, no greater cause, no grudges, simply an invasion of heartless monsters. They aren't killing you because they hate you, they're just hungry, and don't worry, it gets worse. These aren't a bunch of dumbass super crabs. The greatest strength of the Tyranids comes in the form of adaptation. After every single fight, win, lose, or draw, they reset their skill tree. Oh, we're getting hurt by explosives too much? Grow organic flak armor for the next fight. Losing in hand-to-hand combat? Alright, grow extra arms and other deadly appendages. And once again, don't worry, it gets worse. That's something you're going to hear a lot today. This ability goes far and beyond just the physical realm. You may have thought, okay, cool, magic should stand a chance here, right? Wrong. Tyranids developed the ability to give zero fucks about the warp. When you have someone like a Psyker using magic, it'll often hurt them significantly more than it does the Tyranids. If you attempt to dip into your power around them, you damn near lobotomize yourself. They have a supremely disturbing warp presence. As soon as you reach out, all you hear is feral screeching and gnashing teeth. You think that's not too bad? Well, you're hearing these cacophonous roars and clawing in the goddamn trillions. Now, if that doesn't work, they're just going to directly counter it by using their own Psykers. Yeah, they saw the benefits of Psykers in combat, so they just started evolving their own. And like everything else involved with the Tyranids, they are at the top of their game. Now, at least that means they're susceptible to chaos corruption like all warp creatures, right? Wrong again. Chaos cannot touch them. That's right, chaos cannot influence Tyranids. What's even worse is that Tyranids are also massively detrimental to the forces of chaos. After all, you can't have strong gods if all the worshippers are eaten, so that they can punch and never get hit back properly. It's not like you can convince them to turn either. They're already hardwired to follow the hive mind, which we'll talk about more in a moment. Chaos gods represent vices, and Tyranids don't give a shit about vices. Khorne? Well, why would they bother fighting just to fight? Slaanesh? Pleasure is unnecessary to survival. Tzeentch? Hell no, everyone knows you don't trust Tzeentch. Nurgle? They don't want decay and love, they want to repopulate and consume. These motherfuckers are the fluorescent-skinned everything eaters that the ancient Mexican civilizations were worried about. Let's go ahead and get unprecedentedly generous here and pretend like you survived the first wave of a Tyranid attack, which you definitely didn't, but we're pretending here. Congratulations, you just fended off the smallest force they had to bear. That's right, kiddo, you spent months on end fighting tooth and nail on a breaking planet against a baby scouting patrol. You'd better hope to high heavens you struggled enough for them to deem your planet not worth consuming, but you probably didn't. By the way, to prevent any misunderstanding, I don't just mean consume your people. They're gonna eat every last goddamn thing in sight. You're gonna be left with a big-ass broken rock that can't even support the existence of bacteria. And guess what? That's right, it still gets worse. The evolutionary abilities I mentioned, it's not happening over years or months. It's happening in the span of days. The very moment one Tyranid dies, the hive mind that each and every one are connected to begins preparation. Tyranids are even worse than fighting Nurgle himself in a battle of attrition. Whatever you kill them with, they're gonna come back immune, but you already knew that. They run off biomass, meaning you need to vaporize these bitches, or else they're going to reduce, reuse, and recycle themselves to become an endless horde. God forbid you let any of your warriors get taken away by them. These are experts in mimicry and adaptation. If you make the mistake of sending them your best, and your best isn't good enough, it's going to come back to haunt you. They've killed a few Space Marines as an example, and wouldn't you know who won the goddamn pony, they are now massively stronger. This applies across the board. It's not like a zombie where they reanimate your buddy. It's worse. It's so much worse. They're going to go back home, assimilate all of their strengths, none of the weaknesses, and stack it upon what they already had developed. The only situation in which they will not jack your style is if you are a non-organic being. Even then, they'll still try to copy and adapt to you in their very own way. It's goddamn unsettling. So, we've discussed why they're a threat to the entire organic universe. They evolve mid-fight. You can't use any standard weaponry against them. They'll turn your own defenses against you. How could this possibly get worse? Because I promised you it would get worse. The hive mind. This is the best command structure in the galaxy. No, it's the best command structure in the universe. Every single Tyranid that is fucking your shit up maintains picture-perfect communication with one another. It doesn't matter if they're across the planet. They know what their units are doing right in front of you down to the last twitch of a muscle. Sneak attacks and flank routes don't even work. The second you're detected, battle formations are already shifting to surround you. If you end up killing them undetected, so what? You clipped the wire, but the alarm system still goes off. There's a missing link in the chain, and they're going to address it immediately. You just need to headbutt them to death and hope your skull doesn't cave first. Once again, all of this pain is being delivered unto you from a singular scouting fleet. What happens when the main fleet arrives? I'm sorry, my friend, you're fucked. It's over. You've shown them your planet is weak enough to consume, and that's exactly what they're gonna do to it. You can try to fight back, but you're pissing into the wind. You have three options: a fast death, a valiant death, or a cowardly death. They have put too much resources into your planet to stop now. It is getting devoured. This is one of the very few situations where being assigned to chaos is semi-advantageous. Reason being, Tyranids don't really fuck with demons or robots. One turns to dust, the other is already metal, so they have nothing to gain. Your only other chance at survival would be having been struggling so much in the initial stages that consuming your planet wasn't worth the effort expenditure, but that doesn't happen all that often. I'm telling you, the more you learn, the worse it gets. Currently, the Tyranids are the biggest threat to the galaxy, the whole thing, and I mean that literally. They are the largest fighting force invading our galaxy, and we genuinely have no idea how large they are. The only information available is that this is only the beginning. If I had to guess at the full force they could bring to bear, I would widen the scope out to it being the size of an entire other galaxy. It's unfathomably large. You can't even imagine it. The only saving grace is that they're seen as an expendable asset by writers. Despite being alarmingly good at planning and sabotage before arriving to planets, they have been made a bit of fodder. They used to have a lot more predator, now there's a little more alien. However, this does not discount from them being absolute motherfuckers. The Necrons are realistically the only ones that can confidently stop them. This is on account of them being sentient robots that don't just kill enemies, they disintegrate them. Problem being, they don't give a shit about organic life unless they need more worker bees. I think I'll end up making an overview of all their shapes and sizes soon, or maybe talk about chaos in depth again. In any case, thanks for watching and have a good night. Oh, by the way, I'm pretty sure the Tyranids have our galaxy surrounded. Okay, good night.